Now, how the extrinsic coagulation pathway comes into the picture, let me tell you. Upon tissue injury, subendothelium or surrounding injured endothelial cell which is outside the blood vessel and surrounding cells or tissue which is outside the blood vessel release the substance called the tissue factor, which is also known as tissue thromboplastin or simply the factor 3. So this tissue factor or factor 3 initiate the extrinsic coagulation pathway. Tissue factor is a membrane-bound protein present in the subendothelial tissue, and this tissue factor is not present in the circulating blood. But whenever blood vessel injury or tissue injury occurs, tissue factor become exposed or released from the tissue. A small amount of activated factor 7 is always present in the blood even under the normal conditions. About 1% of the factor 7 is always present in the activated factor 7 form. So the moment tissue factor is exposed or released from the tissue, it immediately binds with the circulating activated factor 7 to form the tissue factor 7a complex. For easy pronunciation, we call it TF7A complex. Tissue factor 7A complex is also known as extrinsic Tenase complex. The tissue factor 7A complex can activate factor 9 into the activated factor 9, and it can also activate factor 10 into the activated factor 10. This activated factor 10 now binds with its essential cofactor, that is activated factor 5, on the phospholipid surface of the platelets in the presence of calcium ions. Together they form the complex known as prothrombinase complex, and this prothrombinase complex now convert prothrombin into the thrombin, and then this thrombin will convert soluble fibrinogen into the insoluble fibrin strain or fibrin monomers. So this extrinsic coagulation pathway is shorter than the intrinsic coagulation pathway, and extrinsic coagulation pathway is the fastest way for the blood to start clotting or coagulation after the injury. And have you noticed, once the factor 10 is activated, the activated factor 10 leads to this common step, that is the conversion of prothrombin into the thrombin, and this thrombin will convert soluble fibrinogen into the insoluble fibrin strain. That's why this short common step or pathway known as a common pathway. Means from here, intrinsic coagulation pathway and the extrinsic coagulation pathway leads to the same steps.